Interview the customer. Take notes. Keep asking questions until you completely understand the problem. Have customers reproduce the problem, like I mentioned. Use diplomacy and good manners when at all possible. Okay, then dealing with customer expectations. Okay, create expectations with the customer so they know, some type of time frame on when this is going to be resolved, all that kind of stuff. Okay, and that's with the timeline as well. That way, even if you don't have the part with you and say, okay, well, we don't have this specific part, we don't keep it in stock, I've got to order it, should be here in 2 days, and I can come back the next day. So you're looking at 3 days before I can resolve this. At least they have an idea and they know. If you just tell them, oh, we don't have this, I've got to order the part, I'll get back with you. Well, that just really leaves it open-ended, and they have no clue if you're really talking about a day or two or a month. They don't know. So at least give them some type of timeline. Give the customer an opportunity to make decisions about repairs. Okay, so for instance, if the network card on a computer goes bad, okay, nowadays almost all of those are on the motherboard. So you can give them the option, okay, I can replace the motherboard, which is out of warranty, so it's going to cost you $85, or I've got this $20 network card that I can throw in. Which would you prefer? Okay, not only do they, get the advantage of choosing monetarily which one they want, but they feel like they've made a great stride in understanding the technology, saying, oh, okay, well, I know what this is going to do. It's going to fix my problem, and it's cheaper, so let me do this. Okay, so give them the choice when at all possible. Okay, when you get on site, some things to keep in mind. Avoid distractions. Okay, this is a big one with cell phones. Not only accepting personal calls, but also checking Facebook, checking text messages, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, especially if the customer's sitting right there watching over your shoulder, which a lot of them end up doing because they want to see what you're doing to fix the problem. Okay, if you need to answer calls from work, do so, but kind of excuse yourself and try to keep it as short as possible. Okay, tell them, if you have to excuse yourself, get back to them as soon as you can. And then if you're working at a user's desk, try to be as unobtrusive as possible. Okay, just set your stuff down on the floor, or try not to move everything around. Don't mess with their desk at all. Keep your stuff out of their way if possible. And then if you see confidential material out there, you might want to just let them know, hey, here's your bank account information. You might want to move that while I'm working on this, or here's such and such. Maybe you can put this over there while I'm working on this. So that way they feel a little more confident in you as well, because you're honest to them. They know that you're not going to try to get their information. Okay. Plus, don't take over the mouse or keyboard without permission. This one is very, very hard sometimes. Okay, if you're like me, I'm sitting there watching them, and I'm thinking, okay, I could have fixed this about 30 minutes ago. Okay, but a lot of times, again, what it boils down to is if you let them drive, if you let them control the mouse and keyboard, not only are you showing them how to fix the problem, but they're learning in the process. So they may not be calling you as often because they, learn from experience a whole lot easier, and they can see, oh, okay, all I have to do is go here and here, and that fixes it. Okay, so I know it's tempting to do it yourself because you can get done a lot faster, but it may end up saving you time in the long run. Okay, ask the permission if you have to use their printer or any other equipment. Okay, so for instance, if your company policy may be that once you finish a ticket, you need to print it out and have them sign it. Okay, just make sure you get permission, because remember, you're using their paper, their toner, or their ink cartridges and stuff like that, so make sure you check with them first. Don't use the phone without permission. Okay, nowadays just pretty much everybody has a cell phone, so you shouldn't be using their phone anyways. Don't pile your tools on top of their stuff on top of the desk. Okay, just because you may tear something, you may get stain or something like that on the papers. So accept personal inconvenience to accommodate the user's urgent business needs. Okay, this will be big in the office. Okay, and this is, of course, a whole lot easier said than done, because if you're trying to make your son's baseball game or soccer game or something like that, and then somebody calls when you're literally walking out the door, it's real easy to ignore that phone call and walk out. Okay, but it's going to make that person, that customer, feel that much more special that you are taking the time, after hours or whatever, to fix their issue. If the user is present, ask before making any type of changes on the computer, software, or hardware, because there may be something that they don't want done. Okay, like you may be making a software change that's going to alter the way they're used to using the application or something like that. So make sure you check with them first. Don't disclose information on social media. I'm sure y'all have seen articles out there nowadays about, so-and-so posted this on Facebook and they ended up getting fired from their job or something like that. So just, be careful. Try to use common sense when it comes to that kind of stuff. Okay, so working on the phone. Okay, this is going to be the last slide for this section, but this is by far one of the most difficult jobs when you're dealing with customer service. I honestly believe there's like a special place in heaven for people that deal with phone support, because it is very trying and very stressful. Okay, because usually when they're contacting you, not only are they needing something resolved ASAP, but a lot of times they are not in a very good place. So they may be getting difficult with you or something like that, which is what the next section is going to be dealing with. But when you're working on the phone, it does require more interaction. Okay, you got to remember, you're not generally going to be able to see exactly what they're seeing. So you got to visualize it. Okay, which is sometimes very difficult, especially when you're dealing with other operating systems. If a user calls you and they're running Windows Vista and your office is running Windows 7 or Windows 8, then you may have a hard time visualizing the prompts they're seeing and stuff like that, because you didn't mess with Vista very often. Okay, you have to be an extremely patient person to work with novice users over the phone, and I mean extremely. One phone call can end up taking you several hours to resolve. Okay, so you just got to sit back, take a breath, and walk them through stuff step by step. If a call is disconnected, try to call them back as soon as possible. That way they feel like they are important and you're not trying to just blow them off. Okay, and obviously, big one, don't eat or drink while you're on the phone. I'm sure y'all have dealt with this before, personally, when you're on the phone with somebody and they're sitting there smacking. I don't know about y'all, but that drives me freaking insane. So don't do that. If a caller must be put on hold, try to give them some type of time frame if you can. Okay, can I put you on hold? It should only be a minute or two, something like that. And if it extends that, just get back on real quick and say, hey, I'm running into issues. Let me, can I put you back on hold for a few more minutes? Okay, this just so they stay in the loop. Okay, speak clearly and slowly. Again, this, a lot of times they're going to be frustrated. Okay, so one, don't throw around, slang and computer terms and stuff like that, because a lot of times those novice users are not going to have any clue what you're talking about. Okay, so you want to try to, and I hate to use this term, but you want to try to kind of dumb it down for them and just speak in terms that they're going to understand. And I'm not saying the customers are ignorant or dumb in any form or fashion. Everybody has their own niche that they're good with. Okay, just because the person I'm talking to on the phone is not good with IT doesn't mean that they're not brilliant in some other aspect of their life. Okay, maybe a brain surgeon or something like that. They just don't know computers. So don't treat them like they're idiots. Just try to speak as clearly as you can. Okay, keep small talk upbeat and positive. Okay, if you're dealing with somebody on the phone, you might be in a different location. How's the weather in San Diego or something like that, so that way the time passes a little bit, because sometimes when you're on the phone with them, you're running scans. It's going to take a little while to get stuff done. So just keep that in mind. All right, so that's going to be it for this little section. The next section is going to deal with difficult customers and dealing with coworkers as well.